have a United Against Nuclear Iran Shahed-136 exfiltration team shirt. Yes. It'll be good on the golf course.
Oh.
If you go back to World War II, during the terrible days of World War II in London, the V-1 buzz bomb, as some of you will remember from history books, flew into London and caused terror in London. This is the V-1 buzz bomb of the day. It is terrorizing Americans, it is terrorizing our allies and friends and Europeans around the world, and it is the weapon proliferated by Iran, the Shahed-136. Such 6,000 were delivered into Russia to be used against Ukraine, and now Russia is manufacturing its own version of this weapon system. When you think about this, imagine being in a household or being in Tower 22 as American soldiers, and you hear the buzzing in the distance like a V-1 buzz bomb. It's been displayed at Iranian arms fairs, but has not been accessible. The Ayatollah wants you to believe that he wants to make peace. He doesn't look for aggression beyond his border or doesn't arm his proxies. And we think this is the true face of the Ayatollah and the Iranian regime.
Thank you all. I do not want to get in front of any of the eloquent speakers, but I don't want to speak after Mike Lawler or Keith Self because they're really, really good. So thank you for indulging me real quick. Iran can build one of these things for as little as $20,000, and it requires us to spend millions just to intercept one of them. That disparity is a dangerous thing. And for Iran and its network of terrorists, the math is simple. Under Joe Biden, they knew they could wage war on the West for pennies on the dollar. Republicans will keep maximum pressure on Iran, by the way, until we see full and permanent nuclear disarmament. Nothing less will do. Any framework for peace and stability in the Middle East hinges on that commitment, and under no circumstances can the world's leading sponsor of terror ever obtain a nuclear weapon. With your continued support and the leadership of UANI, we'll ensure that that never happened.
Well, good morning. Thank you for your great leadership. I will say this is the first time I've ever had to walk up and circle around a very scary-looking drone. The prospect of an Iranian regime acquiring nuclear weapons represents the most acute and immediate threat to America and our allies right now today. It is a threat that is literally apocalyptic. When the Ayatollah chants death to America, he means it. Iran is enriching uranium that can be used for nuclear bombs because they intend to build nuclear bombs. They are developing missiles capable of detonating nuclear warheads above American cities because they intend to detonate nuclear warheads above American cities.
Thank you all. Good morning. Thank you to United Against Nuclear Iran and Ambassador Mark Wallace for hosting this important event. It's a symbol of the threat we face from an Iranian regime that has no regard for international norms or the sovereignty of its neighbors. And this drone is one of the tools that Tehran has used to perpetuate instability across the Middle East and in Europe.
I was reading the screen right there. United Against Nuclear Iran says it on there 36 times. And when you read that word united, it leads you to believe that you come from different backgrounds. What unites all of us against Iran is the myriad of experiences that our nations and our peoples have had with the Iranian government. And that's what we're reflecting on here today.
I want to particularly thank UANI for their help on the Foreign Affairs Committee of giving us in April the data on this weapon system. Weapon system to the right of me is basically a kamikaze. I will stand with the four great speakers that you heard before me to stop, however we can, Iran exporting this weapon system, along with the fact that I am so grateful that President Trump is in office and said total dismantlement.
This exists because we went from 200,000 barrels a day coming out of Iran, not enough to even feed their people fully, to 2 million. That's real money at $60 or $70 a barrel, even if it's discounted when they sell it to other enemies of freedom. The $6 billion for hostages, the $100 billion, the list goes on and on. We have to stand with people who will stand with us, some of whom are Democrats. But we have to stand up with this president and make sure that this new presidency gets our full support to once and for all end the tyranny of a regime that has dominated and persecuted and reduced the great people from what they would be and were to, in fact, a nation that lives under a rule of Islamic fundamentalism.
Our problem is not with Iran and the Iranian people. It's with the regime that is actually spending the dollars, advancing their acts of terrorism and their ideological purity around the world and finding a way to be able to threaten their neighbors, whether that be the UAE or Bahrain or Saudi Arabia or Israel or any other neighbor that they can pry into Iraq or into Syria, or now testing out new alliances with Russia and China. Iranian that's hearing this, know that we're your friend. Americans are not your enemy. But if you are the RGC, and if you are the regime, know that we will not allow you to be able to have a nuclear weapon, and we will put additional sanctions on you, and we will continue to be able to press.
I think the Iranians have a very robust influence operation that they engage in, and they engage in it through a couple of different nodes. One is through cyberspace, and in this respect, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and the Ministry of Intelligence in Iran have their own cyber networks that they try to exploit social media platforms to push anti-Israel, anti-American messaging. These are sophisticated foreign intelligence operations that are trying to radicalize American college students and trying to exploit and ride the wave of anti-Semitism in the United States.
Now, immediate threat comes from Iran via Russia, through Russia to Ukraine, but it can be extended to Euro-Atlantic and European community.
There are at least a dozen different air and drone and naval drone systems. The predecessor to this system, the Shahed-136, was fired against Abqaiq in an effort to damage the world's economy through the destruction of 5% of the world's oil exports. This system is not just a weapon of mass destruction. It is a system of mass casualty. It is a system of mass terror. It is used against civilians today.